I'm coming to you today from my bed. I'm going to start on some books. I've got a bit of a cold, so I've got a bit of a kind of like gravelly voice going on. And I'm also, hopefully unrelated, currently in a little bit of self-isolation because I went to an event where someone at the event had a confirmed COVID case. So I had a PCR yesterday and I'm just waiting for my result. I'm double jabbed, have been for quite a while, so I'm hoping that it's all fine and this is just a kind of like beginning of term cold that I actually had before I went to the event, so unless it's COVID from another source, I think I'm just early term under the weather. But because I'm in self-isolation, I finished all my schoolwork for the first week, which is crazy, and I thought I would do a little video talking about my finished objects, because people have been so nice about the episodes that have gone out so far, and I was just doing the subtitles for the episode that just went out. If you're someone who uses subtitles, they're currently auto-generated for all of my videos except the last episode of the podcast, but I will be going through them slowly and just editing the auto-generated ones to make sure that they are correct and that everyone can access the subtitles if they need them. Yeah, but today I wanted to talk about some finished objects, and I actually I've got the wrong basket with me, so if you just bear with me for a second, I'm gonna get the right basket. Okay, I'm back with the correct basket. This is a basket that I use for my knitting, and in here is some finished objects. I've got at the moment 4 finished objects and 1 new cast on, and 1 kind of languishing cast on that is like a sock project that I'm just not going to talk about, but that's where we're at. I'm going to go through them in reverse order of when I finished them. So start with the one I finished most recently and then go back in time, just because that's the order that they're in. The most recent thing that I've finished is the Ballerina Wrap top by insert name on the screen here, which is a free pattern that I got through Ravelry and I talked about in my first podcast episode, I think, and I knit it in blacker yarns, something emerald is the colour. I had 2 different dye lots, so it's quite a difference in the colour, but I didn't want to rip back and do like helical knitting or anything or like alternating skeins, because it was on 3mm needles and like who has time for that. So I just went ahead and used the new yarn, and I'm leaning into it as a little 2-tone accent, and like it's fine. Speaking of time, something that took forever on this project is the I-cord bind off. So you do, I don't know if I'm showing the construction very well, I'll insert some footage of like me wearing it where you can see it a little better outside of this kind of thing. Here's some footage. You're seeing the footage. This is me in the sweater. Now I'm talking to you about the bind off. So you, first of all, when you finish the kind of main body of the sweater, you knit an I-cord, which you then attach to the bottom of the sweater, and then you do, or top, I don't know what we're calling it, and then you do an I-cord bind off the whole way along the bottom. It's very long, and then you knit another I-cord for 40 inches. I think I did like 43 inches for mine. They're very long ties. And then you also, on the kind of this area around the neck and on the front, do an I-cord attached edging, which took me 3 days to do. And I almost skipped it, I almost didn't do it. So that I-cord edging goes all the way along here, along the second sleeve, down the second front, and meets up with your I-cord tie. And I almost didn't do it, but I would say if you're doing it, it is worth your time because it looks really nice. It has like a really nice kind of clean finish and I'm really happy with it. I was wearing it earlier this morning, but then it got too cold so I put this on instead. But I really like it and I think I will get a lot of wear out of it, like layered over like plainer turtlenecks, or just if the weather stays nice, becomes nice, just with kind of high-waisted items. I'm excited, and it's a wool linen blend and I really like that. It's very soft, so I've tied it up until that was some beeping from outside. I really like this one. Finished object number 1. My next finished object is my Woodwardia sweater, which I showed to you the first time that I did a podcast episode, and I think when we last spoke I was just struggling with the neck. Now my solution to the neck, I might just close the window because it's a lot of noise outside. Give me a second. We're back. So my solution to the neck, you can see I've not actually done this end yet because I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with it. I did a neck that was like quite long and I like triple folded it over, and I found that that was a really good like thickness, and it also stood up really well with the alpaca, but it wasn't quite as high as I wanted, so I ripped out that bind off, cast back on again, picked up the stitches and knit this like incredibly long neck, which I am going to triple fold over so it looks like this, which I think is really nice. Not for the weather right now, but I really like it. The reason I haven't completely done it yet is because I think I might sew it to attach it so that it's kind of like a fixed triple fold over, so that I only have to kind of fold it over once instead of folding it over 3 times every time I make it. But I'm really happy with this, how it turned out. The neck is not showing up well. It's very soft. It's not quite soft enough for me to wear like just against my skin. I'm quite sensitive, but I think over another long sleeve top in the autumn winter it's going to be really good. But I haven't had a chance to wear it yet because the weather has been pretty nice. So that's 2 sweater projects. Huge. Don't expect this as a regular thing. I'm not a huge sweater project finisher, or maybe I will become one, who knows. Ooh, I thought I only had 4 projects. I actually have 5. I've got 3 more to talk about. What do I want to talk about next? I'm going to talk about these socks that I made with pheasant West Yorkshire spinners, and I think this might be called Spice, this toe colour, but I can't actually remember what it's called. And these, I think, are the Decathalon Socks. I'm not sure who by, but I'll link it down below. And they were nice to knit. I really enjoyed them. I did an afterthought heel for both of them, which I really like doing. They're a little small for me. They're just a little bit too small, and I'm not a huge fan of like West Yorkshire Spinners yarn on my feet. I don't love how it feels, but I've given socks with West Yorkshire Spinners yarn to people, to lots of different people in my life, and they all seem to really like them. So I think these will probably be a gift, but I'm not sure to whom. So if you're a friend of mine and you would like these, get in touch. If you're a size, I'm like an 8-9 and they're a bit too small. So if you're like a 5-6-7, they'd be perfect. Yeah, these socks. So I also finished, and it's been in the basket and picking up fluff, the Waiting for Rain shawl, which I was doing as a cal with Maria at Woolen Knit and many other people who are also joining in. And this was my kind of holiday project. while I was away down south with my family, and I finished it like not long after getting back. So it's very large. Show it this way. The ends kind of swoop up a little bit, which I'm not used to on having a shawl that is this. It's very, very wide. It's a wide shawl. I'm happy with how the colours turned out. I wasn't sure how they would look together, but I think it's really nice. Now, I'm not sure if I would wear it around me like this, just because it's so, maybe I would. It doesn't actually look so bad. But the ends are very long. You've kind of got a lot that you're working with. I can almost kind of tie it behind me in a sort of like farmer's wife-esque kind of manner. But I could also wear it like a scarf, which I think would be really nice in the winter. And I just bobbed my hair out of its little thing. I wonder if this is one of those projects that I like enjoy knitting more than I'm going to enjoy wearing. Because I do sometimes wear like triangle shawls, but this is just a completely different shape for me. It's like not something I'm used to, so stay tuned to see how / if I wear this. But I did really enjoy knitting it, so I would recommend the pattern, especially if you're someone who likes wearing shawls like this, or is more of a seasoned shawl wearer than I am. And my last finished object is the Ripple Bralette by Jessie Maid. And this one, I've not sewn in any of my ends because I'm going to frog it. I'm going to frog it. This is already my second go at making it, and I just couldn't get the kind of, this would look very funny over this, I just couldn't quite get the sizing right. So I wanted it to be like a kind of crop top more than a bralette, so I wanted to do the like underneath bit just a bit longer, and then, you know, have it, the rest of it like normal. But I think I first knit a size large and that was slightly too small, so then I knit the extra large and that is a bit too big. It doesn't quite give me like the support that I think I would want from it. And the kind of underneath band, in making it a bit longer, I kind of became more aware of the like discrepancies between the distance between like underneath my chest to my waist and my front, and like where that same place is on my back is like a lot longer, or like you just need a bit more coverage in the back kind of before your waist. So it was just like a bit too long in the front and a bit too short in the back and not quite the right size, and I don't love the pattern enough to knit it a third time, so I think I'm going to be frogging it. And potentially donating the yarn, because like I mentioned in I think my first podcast episode, this yarn kind of like sheds bits of silk on you as it goes. It's like a Wendy DK cotton silk blend thing, and I really like the colour, but I really dislike the shedding, so I think I'm going to frog it and I'm going to pass it on. Again, if you're a friend and you would like this, or even if you're not a friend, if you live in the UK and you're happy to pay for the postage, then you are absolutely welcome to have this yarn, so get in touch. So those are all my finished objects. It's been a bit of a flurry of finished objects actually. I just was really enjoying kind of getting all my ducks in a row in like many aspects of my life before my course started, but particularly in my crafting. It's just been really nice to kind of think about what I actually wanted to finish and finishing it, and then thinking about what I wanted to start, which brings me on to my one new cast on, which is at my desk, so I'm just gonna get it. The desk is not far. It is just there. This is the start of a sock. I've done a very thick cuff in the same colour that I used for the toes and heels of my Decathalon socks. I'm hoping that I have enough left to do the cuffs, to do 2 cuffs, 2 heels and 2 more toes, but I'm not sure if I am, especially because I've done such a thick cuff. So this is, I'm doing a Scrappy sock tube, very much inspired by Mackenzie at M to the Third, who started a Scrappy sock tube, I think at the beginning of the year. And she did one where she was like alternating between a kind of main colour skein and like a Scrappy magic knot ball of like all of her yarns, and I think she'd also done it in like a rainbow, which is great. I did not, I've just put all of my sock weight yarns into a kind of magic knot ball, and I'm going to knit, I'm just going to keep knitting. I'm just going to knit stockinette until I'm done, then I'm going to do a cuff on the other end, and then I'm going to do afterthought toe in the middle, just measure to the middle and do afterthought toes, and then measure up to where I want to do my heels and do 2 heels. So it's quite a lot of yarn. I think it's like I haven't weighed it, maybe should have weighed it, but it's definitely going to make some like quite high up socks, I think, which is why I've done such a thick cuff, so that it kind of stays up. And I've also done 72 stitches instead of 64, which I don't know how that's going to go, because I've never done a 72 stitch sock before, but I figured if it's going to be quite high, and you know, it'll be like a slouchy kind of comfy sock to kind of wear at home. And I used a 2mm needle for the cuff, and I'm using 2.25s for the body of the sock, and I'm using my Addi Trios, which I really like. And that is just kind of a small project to have, just to have something to kind of knit plainly on, like while I'm listening to lectures. I like to have something to keep my hands busy if I'm not taking notes, or just that sort of thing. So it's nice to have that, or TV knitting. But that's really the only project I have on the go at the moment, other than, like I said, I have a languishing sock project, which we're not going to talk about. I'm just like, we'll deal with that later. But so this is the only project I have, which I cannot remember the last time that I had like only 1 or 2 knitting projects on the go. I have just had an idea for a project that I might begin, but at the moment it's just this one, which is, I think, pretty remarkable. Yeah. But that's it. That's all I have to say for today. My camera is telling me that I've only got 2 more minutes until it's going to cut me off. So I'm just going to wrap it up. This is just a short little hello. Here are my finished objects. Here's something I'm working on. I hope you're all keeping well. Let me know in the comments how many projects you have on the go at the moment. That's what I want to know from you all. So let me know. Subscribe if you'd like to see more videos. Like the video if you liked it, and just have a lovely day. And I'll see you all later. Bye! Bye!